Hello everybody, this is Dwayne, Cancer Warriors. I'm in the greenhouse. It's Sunday morning, June the 6th, and it is raining. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on my cloning process and how I do it. Cloning is by far the best way to go when it comes to starting new plants. What you're looking at is two cloning boxes. These are hydroponic. These are nothing more than little plastic totes that you will get in the houseware section at Walmart. Actually, I think these are I think they called them shoe box. I painted them black for a good reason. If you don't, the sun's rays will filter through the plastic and you'll be growing algae, which will be competing with your new plants. And then I just drilled holes in them. Actually, I used hole saws and cut these little holes in them. And I use these net cups. You can get these off of Amazon. In fact, a lot of my products I get off Amazon. I have several tomato plants in here that is clearly at the top of my greenhouse. These are last year's tomato plants. It's very simple. I just cut a portion of the plant off like this, and then I take a rapid rooter plug. Now I have used rock wool plugs and they work good too, but I think the rapid rooter plugs are a little bit better. Incidentally, I have nearly 100%, probably 99.9% success rates on cloning with tomato plants, and that's basically the only plant that I have tried. If you'll see, there's a little bit of a hole in the center, and what I do, I just insert the plant down in the plug, and I make sure the hole goes all the way through. Sometimes I have to take a fondue stick and punch it a little down, further down in the rapid rooter plug. When I insert tomato, generally these are suckers, which are going to be discarded anyhow. And then I put it in the net pot, and probably the bottom ½ inch of the plug will always be submerged in water. Now normally I have an air stone in here which has this water boiling. I shut the pump down because it's a commercial pump and it's quite noisy and you probably wouldn't be able to hear. Before I insert the stem down in the plug, I use rooting hormone. I got this at Lowe's. You can get it off Amazon. There's several different brands. There's the powdered brand, which this is. There's the liquid brand, and there's also a paste brand. In any case, like I said, I have about 99%, 99+% success rate. In fact, in the last 5 years, I doubt that I have lost more than 1 or 2 clones out of well over 100, and it's simply because I got lazy and it was a hot day and I let the water line fall down below the roots. Now typically these clones have been in for about 3 days. Usually on day 5 or 6 the roots will start showing. They'll go right out through the rapid rooter plug. What I do then is I crank up a little bit of a nutrient. It'll still be a weak solution. And in another 2 or 3 days, the roots will just explode. And usually after a week, and certainly no more than 10 days, I'll transplant to its own bucket, which will either be a water solution in a large net pot, or in a dirt bucket. And when you go the route of clones, you're talking 7 to 10 days and you have a plant ready to transplant. These plants are already 6 to 10 inches tall, and they will grow right here in the cloning box. And I have boar tomatoes. This is a big beef over here, and these are all sun sugar cherry tomatoes over here. If you choose to go from seed, which on tomatoes I usually don't do, you lose a month. Let's face it, when seedlings come up, they're fragile, and they just don't take right off. With these clones and this system, they'll be ready to transplant, but this time next week, I guarantee it, and I'll do a short video on that too. And they'll take right off. You gain 3 to 4 weeks minimum growing time when you go with the cloning system. I've never tried this on other plants, but I know there's people in states where it's legal that clone marijuana, and I've never had any experience at this. If it was legal here, I would be doing it, but I can assure you this system will work for marijuana plants and probably any other type plant. I know people that have good success with peppers, both bell and hot peppers. And I want to show you some plants that I just started outside yesterday. We're walking down to my last year's garden. These are all Dutch buckets. I'm just getting the system running now. This is the Lazy Man system. What you're looking at here is a Naga Viper. This is a very, very hot pepper. It's been in the greenhouse all winter, in fact all year. I just moved it out yesterday because we're past the frost-free time of the year. We're good to go here until late September. You see several more buckets lined up. These buckets have got 3 inches of gravel, pea gravel on the bottom, just to add stability. And the rest is cocoa coir. I had a good crop in these buckets last year. What happens is I have a reservoir. This is about a 30-gallon reservoir. This is a tote that I got at Lowe's. It's buried in the ground for a good reason. The oxygen carrying capability of your water is critical when you're in hydroponics. And on a hot summer day, a tote sitting on top of the ground will get quite warm and your plants will get stressed. I've already experienced this. However, if you bury the tote in the ground and about 90% is in the ground, you'll keep the water temperature 10 to 20 degrees cooler, which is essential. But basically what happens, there's a pump in here, and at timed intervals, we'll pump water with nutrients up through this line, and it comes out in these little drip hoses right into the bucket. Excess water will drain down through the media and into a drain pipe and right back into the tote. Now, a system of this nature can go unattended for 2 to 3 weeks. And once once I have mature tomato plants and all the buckets and they're setting fruit, there will be a huge drain on the water and nutrients. At that time, I will probably have to check my water and nutrient solution on a regular basis, at least once a week. But I've got that solved. Last year I added a 330-gallon tote. And by the way, I use only rainwater, no tap water for my plants. I don't drink the tap water. My plants sure don't need it. This is 330 gallons. That comes out of hose here, goes into a hose that goes right into my tote. And it has a little float valve on there, very similar to what you would have in your commode, only smaller. And this system will run all summer long unattended. Even on a dry summer. And this summer evidently is not going to be dry because it's raining right now. And I have another compound out here. I hadn't even cleaned it up from last year. I had 10-foot tomato plants all around this compound that bore thousands of tomatoes. Well, folks, I just wanted to give you a quick update with some tips on how to grow some of your own plants the easy man's way, or perhaps I should say the lazy man's way. And by the way, these are totally organic as you can get, because I use EnviroCure, which is made from processed chicken poop, and it works great. It works as good as anything I've ever used. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Pahalan.